Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zach Brown, and joining with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. A lot to go over from Atlanta and previewing Watkins Glen, the next race in the round of 16 for NASCAR. IndyCar has their finale race to determine the champion of the 2024 IndyCar season. High Limit is at Lernerville this week, and the Outlaws are in California still, in Bakersfield and Merced. So a lot to preview, go over, and we're starting to wind up to the end of racing. Starting off with Atlanta in the NASCAR Cup Series, Joey Logano gets the win, and it looked like for a while maybe Ty Gibbs was going to win. It was actually a really good race at Atlanta, and then randomly cars started just, I don't know what happened, get loose and hitting walls between Kyle Larson and I think Truex did it, a bunch of cars. It was really weird how this all happened. So it was a good race, and we kind of predicted it. Atlanta's got a little bit more wear and tear now from the beginning. Ended up being a decent race.
Yeah, I think they said the lap times were like a second and a half slower than they were last year. So that's quite a bit. But, all in all, it was a good race. What was impressive was Team Penske cars, how they worked together with Blaney, who actually had some damage on his car, pushed Logano to the win. Austin Cindric was up there. They all worked together. Team Hendrick cars just do not work together. The Chevys could not stick together for whatever reason. I don't know why. Kyle Busch was actually up there towards the end.
Another chance to win.
Nobody to work with him.
Yeah, Kyle Busch 3 weeks in a row. He had a shot to win the race.
Yep.
And I mean it. And I called it coming out of the Olympic break that if there's a team that could go on a tear and possibly make the playoffs, which they had a shot, was Kyle Busch and them. That's it's a testament to what they are doing. It's momentum, I guess, from also Dillon, even though they had the fine, but they have still improved drastically from the beginning of the year because those cars were complete junk in the beginning of the year. So to have chances 3 weeks in a row to win, that's pretty impressive.
Just makes you wonder what were they not giving Kyle Busch all year that all of a
I don't
sudden.
know. There's a huge rumor mill circulating now between Kyle Busch possibly going and taking over the 48 car next year, and Bowman going to Spire Motorsports, which is a third party race team through Hendrick or whatever, and it's a whole lot of rumors right now. Nothing's been confirmed. People are just talking. I don't know how much any of it is true, but that would really shake things up next year if that happens. But nobody really knows what's going to happen. But again, a good race at Atlanta. Speedway racing's been good on these cars. It helps with the stages, the 400-mile races. That has significantly helped as well. And I don't think Atlanta, you're going to be in any position to be able to save fuel and just ride like you do at the other tracks. That's just not that big to do all that. But the weird thing was, especially Kyle Larson, just single file, not minding his own business, and that thing just bit. I don't know what happened, and he said he slightly overcorrected, but he's like I don't know if I had a tire going. He said it was just insane. He's like, I didn't feel anything happen, and all of a sudden it just pow into the wall, and that was a hard hit.
Yeah, he actually said the car was a little on the tight side, so he said snapping loose was really something that he did not expect, and
it was weird.
He hit hard, and then who hit him? Briscoe or Priest?
Briscoe, yeah.
That was another hard hit on the whole thing. So
I mean, they were going 180 probably ish, 160, 170, 180.
Still, it was just one of those things that Briscoe was just wrong place, wrong time type thing.
But, and now Larson.
That was weird how that happened.
And Larson coming in the round of 16 with the most points. Now you find him at a possible. Not a must win, but he's got to have two consistent weeks.
He can't have a bad finish.
Luckily, coming up, the next two tracks are pretty solid for him traditionally. And I'm saying that. Hopefully, I'm not jinxing him, but traditionally those are good tracks for him. And I just don't expect a couple of these other guys. My first four out were Hendrick, Harrison, Burton. No, I had Suarez actually moving on because I think he could possibly win at Watkins Glen. Who did I have? Not moving on. I can't remember the first four out. I named it last week and I couldn't quite remember who I had. But anyways, Well, let's give our power rank. Well, real quick touch on Austin Hill wins at Atlanta. I knew I should have picked Austin Hill. I knew the Chevys were going to be good in Xfinity
He's
Speedway
good at those
racing.
type of
He's
speedways.
good at Atlanta. It doesn't seem to matter which type of Atlanta it is. He's won at Atlanta quite a lot now. But yeah, the Speedway races, he's got something figured out. So um, definitely, definitely impressive what he's been doing there, and he moves on to the next round in their playoffs as well. Let's give our power rankings heading into Watkins Glen. And I've big shakeup now because 2 weeks, 3 weeks of bad luck. I'm moving some people down. So at number 5, moving in to my power rankings is the winner of Atlanta, Joey Logano. You move on to the round of 12. You're going to be in the top 5 of the power rankings. Number 4, I've moved down Denny Hamlin from number 2. He's still, I mean, one of the better drivers, but he just had last week was just a terrible car. But the weeks before he's had some bad luck and things like that. And number 3, I've got moved down from number 1. Kyle Larson is at number 3. I mean, the car was fast, but something happened, and he 2 weeks in a row crashing, or 2 out of 3 weeks crash. No, he's crashed 3 weeks in a row, I think. So yeah, that's going to move you down. I've moved up Ryan Blaney, very consistent at Atlanta, having a shot to win at the end with a damaged car. And I don't think how much damage actually affected it. It wasn't that much. It was more just
It was
tire rub on
cosmetic.
the side. Yeah. And number 1, I mean, this guy he's the regular season champion. I've got Tyler Reddick.
Ooh, we are close. I moved some stuff around. I actually moved William Byron into the top 5 this week. He had a good run, and coming up to Watkins Glen, last year's winner, that factored in. I did move Denny Hamlin down from number 2 to number 4. Joey Logano pops right in at number 3. All of a sudden, it seems like when these races count, here comes Joey out of nowhere, sort of maybe unexpected, but not really unexpected. You know, he's a 2-time champ for a reason. Dropped Larson down to number 2, and I have, like you, I have Blaney at number 1. There's
I have Blaney at number 2.
like Team Penske just picked it up a whole notch.
I have Blaney at number 2. I have Reddick at number 1.
Oh yeah, oh, okay.
All right, the next race in the NASCAR playoffs is at Watkins Glen, one of the traditional road course races that NASCAR has, and I'm actually kind of excited. This is one of my favorite road courses that they go to, and they putting it in the playoffs definitely shakes things up. But if this is the only road course in the playoffs, I think everybody'd be happy because nobody likes the Roval anymore. Everybody's tired of the Roval. Nobody wants to go to the Roval.
I thought the Roval was kind of neat.
The Roval's it's worn out. One time was fine, but now it's just played. It's played out too much, especially being at Charlotte, and these cars can go really well in the mile and a half. But Watkins Glen, well, definitely it's a wild card, just like Atlanta Speedway Racing was. But before we give our picks and previewing Watkins Glen, let's give NASCAR Fantasy, and we kind of preview Watkins Glen as we go. Everybody knows Watkins Glen is by now, I would hope. It's the track that's right behind you, and it's one of the faster road courses that NASCAR goes to as well.
Yeah, they say Sonoma races like a short track. This would race more like a larger speedway track. Speeds are much higher compared to Sonoma. So
This is
weather
where
could be an issue up here for this track. You know, it's up there in New York. There gets a lot of rain, so this could really throw a damper into things.
Well, this is where a lot of drivers have circled on their calendar because, like Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, those drivers, this might be their only chance to get a win to move on to the next round because Bristol's next. Bristol's another wild card. This whole entire first round is a wild card.
For sure.
So, win and you move on to the next one. Joey Logano, he's safe right now, so you might see him throw some Hail Marys at things. So, for my fantasy starters this week, and I went some heavy hitters and what I've went back at the last couple seasons and which ones have been consistently top 10, top 5s. So I have the guy who has won his very first race in NASCAR Cup Series. This is where he won it, Chase Elliott. Another Hendrick driver right here. I've got Kyle Larson. He's won the last 2 out of 3, I believe, at Watkins Glen. Very good road racer. Tyler Reddick, another very, very good road course racer in this series. William Byron, he's been very fast, very consistent at Watkins Glen these last couple times. And this guy has finished in the top five, I believe, the last two, and top 10 in the last three races they've gone to Watkins Glen. I've got Christopher Bell. We have the exact same starters, don't we? I wonder if our garage is different. I have Daniel Suarez in the garage.
I have Ty Gibbs.
Okay. All right, well, we'll see if the matchups are any different. Denny Hamlin versus Chase Elliott. We probably both have Chase Elliott.
Yep.
All right, well, there we go. The next one, I've got Kyle Larson over William Byron.
Yep.
Okay. Tyler Reddick over Christopher Bell.
Yep.
And Austin Cindric over Ty Gibbs.
I have Ty Gibbs.
Okay, there's the one difference there.
We could get to, we're going to be within 10 points of each other if we don't put our garage in.
Yeah, well, yeah. So a good bet here is William Byron. Like I said, he's finished very consistent in the last couple of years there. Another good bet is Tyler Reddick. That should be a hot bet, really. It says avoid Brad Keselowski. You know, he's not the best road racer. It says avoid Denny Hamlin. He hasn't been good lately.
Denny Hamlin's usually fast, but
yeah, they've been struggling lately. Ever since they implemented that penalty on them, they've kind of struggled. So I don't really know what's going on there. And a sleeper is Alex Bowman winning at Chicago. All the Hendricks I expect to be pretty quick here. Yeah, so Alex has built a lot more points now in the first round, and he's got a shot to move. I think that was another one I had going out the first round. So that was another of my first four out. So I don't even think we need to go over your fantasy because we have the same damn thing. It looks like besides two things. So, all right. Well, that does it for that. Now
let's have in the exact same order too. That's what's
now let's give it into our actual pick, race winning picks for the Xfinity Series and the NASCAR Cup Series. The Xfinity Series. I'll give my pick for right here. This driver, probably the most consistent, best road course racer, maybe behind the guy who's won the last 3 or 4 in a row in Xfinity. But I avoided it before, but I'm going to go with him this time. AJ Allmendinger to win the Xfinity race.
Okay, I actually just changed mine. I originally had William Byron who's going to be in the 17 car, but I'm going to go with the one that dominated all the road courses this year. How do you go against Shane Van Gisbergen?
That's true. That's one like last 3 or 4 in a row. So, all right, the NASCAR Cup Series at Watkins Glen. Again, this guy has finished so well these last 3 road course races. I went back to even when they had the Gen 5 car. Now the next gen car they have. I think he's got a very good shot to win this one, and he's got a good shot to win next week as well. But he has been very good lately, and I think he's a sleeper pick that a lot of people are not really talking about to win the championship. I have Christopher Bell for the NASCAR Cup Series at the Glen.
Okay. I got in a sort of, but not really must win. Like you said, he won 2 out of 3. Sorry, Larson, but we're going to pick you for this week. And Mom's pick is Williams Byron this week.
All right. The season for the IndyCar Series is coming to a close at the finale at Nashville Superspeedway. The first time they have done a finale on an oval, I think, in their history. This is going to be super exciting. These cars will be tremendous on this awesome track on a 1.5 mile concrete track to determine who's going to be the champion. Really comes down to 3 people. I think mathematically there might be 4, but it realistically comes down to 3 drivers. You've got Alex Palou with the points lead, a comfortable points lead, but nothing's too comfortable in the IndyCar Series. Something happens, other drivers can take advantage of it. Will Power is in second. Has been on a tear the last few weeks. And Scott McLaughlin, he's kind of come out of nowhere and put himself in position to get to the championship. So comes down to those 3, really. This will be an exciting race. These cars, they're going to give it everything they have in this one because everything's on the line. You're going to see 3, possibly 4 wide. It's a wide track, especially for these narrower Indy cars compared to the NASCAR Cup Series cars. It's going to be a fun race. I'm excited to see this one.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 o'clock on Sunday. So probably on NBC Peacock. I didn't write it down. So
hot and slick.
Sometimes it's hard to find. But unfortunately, it's right in the middle of football games, so I think viewers are probably going to be down. Viewership probably going to be down, but I do commend IndyCar for ending the season early. It's football season. Everybody's kind of raced out, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun race. I'm looking forward to this one. I think
It is on NBC, Peacock, and IndyCar's thing, and Sirius XM and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it is on those. Uh, I think it's the first time they've ever come to this track as well.
yeah, I
Because
don't remember. I know they
I
raced
know they
the
were
street
doing
cars.
some tire tests earlier this year, and I think they were very successful. With the sun beating down on the concrete track with the Indy cars, I'm really curious to see how that plays into effect with these tires. It's gonna be fun. These cars are gonna go probably 170, 180 down the
Oh, they're
front
going to be quick.
stretch, back stretch, and not let off too much going to the corners. It's going to be the restarts and the start of the race is going to be chaotic. If the last two races or three races have said anything between Gateway and St. Louis as well, that's the same one. Gateway and Milwaukee. If that says anything, yeah, that's going to be chaotic, especially with these three drivers that have a shot to win this championship or lined up anywhere close to each other. They're going to be ballsing it in, and it's hard to really balls it in with an Indy car, but they're going to try to make it happen.
Oh, they'll do it. Like last race of the season, can't hold anything back now.
Yep. I
So,
mean, it all comes down to this, and I hope it is a fantastic race, and I hope it gets spread out enough where it's like we don't know who's going to win the championship. And I'm glad that nobody's locked up the championship at this point. That's that's good because now it's going to make a fun finale. It's going to be a packed house at Nashville, though. That'd be a fun race to see.
that would be a fun
Nashville,
race
just in
to see.
general, be cool to see. So yeah, all right, let's give our picks for the race and also the championship. So go ahead with your race winner and or the championship winner as well if you doubled up.
I think Team Penske is going to be very fast this week. I do have Willpower winning the race, but I still have Alex Palou finishing probably in the top five, close enough to Willpower that he is not going to lose the championship. It's going to be close, but I think Alex Palou does get the championship.
I'm just gonna say screw it. Let me go out on a limb right here. I think Alex Palou can get caught up in a wreck, and it might catch Will Power as well. So those two could be out early. Uh, Anything can happen. I think it's going to be chaotic. I think one person that's been taking advantage of the last few weeks has been this guy. I'm going to double up on him, and I'm going with Scott McLaughlin to win the race and the championship. And what a hell of a comeback of the season would it be for that?
That's for sure.
So let me double up on that, and yeah, that's what we're going with. That'll be exciting. I'm excited to see this one. Um, and our team doesn't play till Monday night, so I can watch the IndyCar race because I don't really care about the games that are on. Or I can watch the Panthers get destroyed by 50 again. I mean, that'd be fine. All right, well, that does for the IndyCar Series. High Limit is at Lernerville. Let's just talk real quick about the Tuscarora 50. Rico Aber's been on a tear.
He sure has.
He's had a great last few weeks. The last two wins that he's had, the highest paydays that he's had between Skagit and now at Tuscarora 50. I didn't get to see it live, saw bits and pieces of it, but the entire week it was really good racing, and it was spread out. All 3 days didn't really have the same person was going to win it every single night, which was nice. It had great parity in the racing.
Yeah, the race was pretty good. The last day, I guess apparently it rained earlier in the day, and they left the track hard. So when they were in time trials, they were like 3 seconds a lap slower than they were the night before for time trials.
They were quick the very first night. That track was fast.
Yeah.
It was 15,
But-
high 15s.
But the heat races, I mean, the track was slow, but the heat races were actually very good. There was actually a lot of passing in the heat races. And then for the 50 lap feature, and you can't change tires, not like Knoxville, which they may want to think about doing that. But once the track got rubber down, probably maybe 10 laps into that race, there was no more passing.
I don't see
So
there's
it
a
was
reason
one
to.
lane around the bottom.
Yeah.
and they
on
just
on
trying
all
to save tires.
on all these big races, I don't see a reason that you should have the change the tires out. I think part of the uh, challenge should be how can you save your tires for the first 25 and get ready for the last 25, and which tires you decide to put on, the harder or the softer tires. What do you want to go with? You want to go speed real quick and then try to save it for later, or do you want to go harder tires and you can kind of go a little bit harder in the beginning and see what happens in the second half? I like that strategy. It worked out for Kyle Larson this year, not changing tires.
Yeah, Knoxville also didn't take rubber down, so that makes it a little bit. And people were shitting on Port Royal or saying, the other track was horrible. I remember almost every Tuscarora 50 would start to get rubber down. I mean, I don't think that's anything new. It's a lot of racing in a weekend for that, and I think the weather played some of the issue. Port's normally a really good racing surface, and they just they missed it a little bit, but it is what it is. What it is. It's the same for everybody.
Well, it when you have weather play a factor in it too, that kind of changes up what they were planning on doing for the entire week. I am shocked they got all 3 races in.
Yeah, that's surprising.
That's because we weren't there.
Right.
That's exactly why they raced. But congrats to Rico Abreu, another big win on his resume, winning the Tuscarora 50. I think that was his first Port Royal win at all, ever. So,
it could be.
So what a hell of a first win at Port.
He was good. He did it right off the beginning. I forget where he started, about 4th. He got a real good jump and took the lead. And then once the rubber come down, there was going to be nobody going to pass anybody.
Well, the Central PA fans, if it wasn't going to be a posse that wins it, they were definitely excited that Rico won. He is definitely a fan favorite, especially in Pennsylvania. Last year or the year before when he chugs a beer at Beer Hill, yeah, he's one of them now. So
maybe a surprising race was Thursday night with Aaron Reitzel picking up the win.
It was, yeah.
I don't think anybody would have picked that.
He's like Bill Baylog randomly, and he'll just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to win this race just out of the blue. Nobody really expects it. I mean, that's awesome. It's awesome to see different drivers get wins, but it's like, what the hell? Wouldn't have expected that. Definitely.
Yeah.
But I didn't get my pick right. I don't think you picked Rico either, so I didn't get any of it right.
I picked Macri.
Yeah, and I picked Sunshine, so it is what it is. Let's see what we can do when they go to Lernerville this week. Last time they were at Lernerville, they're doubling up. So last time they were at Lernerville, it was hell of racing, and I think it came down to Brad Sweet and Corey Day, if I'm not mistaken, the last time they were there, and that was great racing. Brad Sweet actually prevailed, and Corey Day got second. So what's Corey Day got in store for this weekend? What has everybody got in store for this weekend at Lernerville? Let's go ahead and give our picks. We've already talked about Lernerville plenty of times because they've raced there in all the series we talk about. So go ahead with your back-to-back nights at Lernerville.
So I picked for Friday night. Lernerville's Western Pennsylvania, so you got the Western PA, Ohio, Indiana guys run there a lot. I'm going to put the edge to Sunshine Tyler Courtney on Friday. And Saturday, this guy was struggling, but all of a sudden he picks up a win at Port Royal. Friday night, Brad Sweet for the win on Saturday night.
Well, I'm going Friday night. I am picking Brad Sweet, who's recently won at Lernerville earlier this year. And Saturday night, I see him coming back for a little bit of vengeance. I've got the teenager from California, Corey Day, to win on Saturday at Lernerville. Because why the hell wouldn't he just win at Lernerville when it's one of his first few times?
Yeah, he's probably ready to get out of Pennsylvania. He's been fast, but had some bad luck for sure.
Yeah. All right. And the final thing we got to preview is the World of Outlaws at Bakerfield and Merced is it Merced, I guess, is how they pronounce it.
I believe.
Yeah, and they're in California. I believe it was Bakersfield. The last time the Outlaws were there, Corey Day was 16 when he raced there, and he was battling for the win with Giovanni Scelzi. And that's when everybody was like, oh, damn, this kid might be pretty damn good. He might to be 16 and you run second in the World of Outlaws sanctioned race. That's pretty significant. So Corey Day's obviously not racing in that one because he's racing for points in the high limit series. So probably good for the field there because he probably go out there and tear it up. But Alice, I've had good racing. I picked. I was slightly off, but who's really been good is Buddy Kofoid lately. He's been
He
very,
has
very,
been
very
running
good.
well.
And I mean the points, Gravel's running away with it. It's been about 100
Although
every
Gravel
single
struggled
week.
the last couple weeks.
But it still doesn't matter. He can struggle. Let me just see the
Oh, he's
exact
too
points.
far ahead, but I'm just saying he has struggled, and Carson Macedo has picked up his game, but I think a little too late now.
Yeah, and let me pull up the actual point standings right now. Yeah, it's still at 110, so it's been like right at 100 the entire time. And Buddy Kofoid's, I think he was like 400 behind. Now he's like 260. He's in 5th place right now. He's like climbing the fences there. He's got just as many about as many top 10s as David Gravel this year, so he's had a really good season. But all right, let's what are your notes for Bakersfield and then Merced, because we don't really talk about I don't think we've talked about these tracks.
Yeah, Bakersfield they didn't give a whole lot of information on it. Merced has a little more information on their site, but it's quarter-mile dirt track. Looks like it's the real dark clay, and generally California tracks usually are pretty heavy. Could have a decent-sized cushion on the thing. I think track record's like 10 seconds around there, so it's not a big track. So I think you're going to see probably California guys maybe have a slight edge on this one.
You could. Still the World of Outlaw guys. There are going to be a bunch of them that are still up there, and I expect Carson Macedo to be strong in both nights. Gio won here last year, so he wants to get a big win in front of his California crowd, family, friends. So, all right, first night, it's at Bakersfield. Who's your pick for the World of Outlaws?
Yes, I think a little too late for this guy, but he's been running good, so I'm going to stick California guy, Carson Macedo.
All right, well, my pick, last time they were there, he had a shot to win it, got caught up in a wreck/spin around turn 3 and 4, but I've got the points leader, David Gravel.
Okay.
And what are your notes for Merced?
So it looks like it's another quarter-mile track. It gets around about 10 seconds. So according to their site, it is the fastest, smoothest dirt track in Central Valley, California. Large covered grandstands. Fans are kept cool in the summer heat with an obstruction-free view of the entire speedway. I thought that was a neat little tidbit they put right on their site. A lot of their sites, they don't want to tell you anything about the track, which is really stupid.
They're like, come here, you won't roast in the California sun.
Yeah, most of the highlights of the facts, like, can I bring beer? They're like, no, we sell beer there. So.
Oh, that sucks. All right, well, who's your pick for Merced?
So we're going to stick with California, and you were just talking about the two guys I have picked. First, you talk about Carson Macedo. So I got Gio Scelzi going.
So do I.
So do you?
Yep. I had to go with California for this one. Look, expect Buddy Kofoid to be good, though. He's been very strong lately. He's from California, so don't.
They seem to really have fixed a lot of the reliability issues on those Toyota engines.
Yeah, and they've sent them all to NASCAR. I think, I think there's another 2 good races. I think a lot of racing will be good this weekend. And finally, I think Watkins Glen for the NASCAR Cup Series and the Xfinity Series, I think those will be probably the best road course races that we've seen all year. Watkins Glen generally delivers a very, very good race. It's probably my favorite definitely my favorite road course out of all of them.
It's that one. Like I said, weather could be an issue. If we get any kind of rain, it could really be.
That'll shake everything damn up. That'll be really cool. That'd be awesome. We'll see who can move on to the next round in NASCAR, and we'll see who gets crowned champion in the IndyCar series. And likely we should be over trackside at ZMAX next week, and we will give us a little preview while we are there for the NHRA Carolina Nationals, the first round of the countdown, and we will talk about that on the show as well. We'll probably give our picks while we are trackside. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow anywhere you get your podcast, follow all social media platforms. We will send out I'll send out my best bets for NASCAR this week as well. I have made a bet in DraftKings, so it'll send out a whole whopping $5 bet though, because I am a cheap ass. But this one will turn over like a couple $100 if it hits. So I'll be on the lookout for that. It'll be on X. It'll be on Instagram as well. And we'll send out our NASCAR Fantasy live. That will be on all the social media stuff. So till next week, we will see you then.
All right, bye everybody.